Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cody Carlson, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that's also known as CC Top. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Moonrakers from 4 Studio. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. In Moonrakers from 4 Studios, 1 to 5 players take on the roles of various space mercenaries as they attempt to fulfill contracts, form alliances, and score the most prestige. Each player is going to take their own player board and their own set of basic starter cards. Now, in the center of the playing area, you're going to have an armory board, which is going to have space for ship parts. You're going to lay out a number of ship parts next to the board. And you're also going to have crew, and you're going to lay out a number of crew next to the board as well. Next, you're going to have the dispatch board. You're going to have a number of contracts on there, a deck of contracts, and you're going to place a number of contracts out next to it. You're also going to have some objectives face down on that board. You're also going to have the prestige track. All players start with their ships at 0 prestige. So as a player, you've got your player board and you've got your deck of cards. Now your deck of cards have various symbols on them. You're going to look and see how many symbols come close to fulfilling one of the contracts, which also have similar symbols on them. The contracts have other information as well. Each of the contracts, there are different kinds of contracts for starters, but each of the contracts is going to have some prestige it gives you, or no prestige. It will have some money it could give you. It may allow you to draw bonus cards from the crew deck, and it will also have a number of hazards that you must overcome in order to get that card. Now, how the game works is essentially on your turn, you have a couple of options. Now, the first thing you can do is go after a contract, or you can choose to stay at home at base. Now, if you go after a contract, you select one of the contracts from the contract area. I believe there should be 8 contracts out there in all. Then what you do is you see if it is possible for you to win with the cards you have in hand. Probably not. So what you can do is invite someone else into an alliance. You can say to someone else, why don't you join me in trying to take on this contract? But then you have to negotiate for the rewards. How are you going to split up the prestige points? How are you going to split up the money? If there's a bonus card, who gets that? And critically, those hazards mean you have to roll hazard dice. Who is going to roll the hazard dice? So you work out who's going to do what. Now, if you can't come to an alliance with somebody, you move on to another card. If you can't negotiate successfully for that card, then you must go to option 2, stay at base. Now, assuming you can get someone to agree to help you with this deal, or multiple people to help you with this deal, the first player, the one who initiated the contract, is going to start laying down cards. Now, here's the thing. You can only lay down one card. You've only got one action, and that's just laying down one card. But the card you lay down could be a reactor, and a reactor gives you 2 actions. So essentially, you could lay down 2 other cards. One of them could be another reactor, which gives you another 2 cards. So you're kind of building an action tree from that initial card you laid down. But some of the cards and some of the crew cards that you will be able to get in later in the game, they will grant you other abilities. But hopefully you can play enough of those cards to help you out. You can also play thrusters, which allow you to draw 2 cards into your hand. So there's a potential there to get what you need. So you can continue to go ahead and play cards from your hand. But you can only have that initial action and then any actions that come from other cards that you play. Once you've played enough that you can't play anymore, the other person in your alliance can go ahead and they can start playing. And if more people are in the alliance, then they can start do it. And then assuming you can play all the symbols that match the card, you get the card, and you have to divide up the loot as in the manner in which you had agreed upon. But then you also have to roll the hazard dice. Now you roll hazard dice, and they could have 0, 1, or 2 hazards on them. For every hazard you roll, you actually go back on the prestige track. So you may gain victory points, but you may lose them as well. Now, you may play shields in your action tree, and if you play the shields, for every shield you played, it blocks one of those hazards, so it makes things a little bit safer for you. Now, if you fail, you don't get any of the rewards, but you still have to roll the hazard dice. Now, if you chose to stay at base, you have to draw 1 credit. Now, everybody starts out with 2 credits, and this is how you're going to buy more cards, but you get to take 1 credit. You can also draw 2 of the objective cards. You start with 2 objectives already. You take 2 of the objective cards, you look at them, you get to draw 1, and you put the other one at the bottom of the deck. You also have the option to select one of the contract cards in the play area and discard it and draw a new contract card. Now, regardless of which option you took at the end of your turn, you can go ahead and you can purchase either a crew card from the crew lineup or a ship part from the ship part lineup. Now, if you buy a ship card, you can put that ship card on your ship board. That will give you some persistent bonuses throughout the game, and it will have a symbol on it, meaning a matching card. You can draw that card, and then you can add that to your discard pile. You then discard all of the cards that you had for that turn, and you draw 5 more cards. So players are going around and around doing this. They are attempting to either get a contract or stay at base. They are forming alliances. They are gaining those prestige points. They're rolling hazard dice. They are purchasing new cards for their decks or for their shipboards, and they're hoping to score the most prestige points. The first player to arrive at 10 prestige points wins Moonrakers. Now, this is a game that's been out for a few years. I'm late to the party. It just popped up on my radar fairly recently, and I thought it looked fantastic. I love deck builders, and one of my favorite mechanisms in a game is negotiation. I love games where you negotiate. So I went ahead, I reached out to the people at Force Studio and requested a review copy. They sent me one, and I was super excited to play this. I actually took it down with me to Utah, and I was able to play a few 3-player games. And first of all, let me just say with regard to the deck building here, this idea that you can only play 1 action card on your turn, and that action card may allow you to do more, and you build these trees, I think that is excellent. That is so much fun. It's unique. I've never played anything like that before in a deck builder. I can't think of any other deck builder that worked quite that way. Normally, you can play all the cards in your hand in a deck builder. Here, you're restricted, and the way it restricts you is very fun. I like that. I like the upgrades, how you can kind of upgrade your ship, and it gives you these persistent abilities, which are a lot of fun. But I really, really, really do like the negotiation here. It is super, super fun. And I didn't mention there's also one of the hidden objectives that you get, which are very fun. You're chasing these hidden objectives to give you prestige points. One of the hidden objectives is be a part of an alliance, but sabotage the mission. And I did that a couple of times. I was playing with my friend Aaron. I did that a couple of times to him. He got so mad because I was really driving a hard bargain during the negotiations, and I got my way. But we went ahead and we did it, and I tanked it, and he got mad that we wasted so much time on the negotiations. And I did it twice. It was hilarious. But I love good negotiations, and there's a lot to negotiate here for. Now, you can't negotiate for stuff you've already got, points you've already got, or coins you've already got, but stuff on the card you can negotiate for, and it's really intense. It's like, okay, there's 3 victory points up for grabs, prestige points. I'll give you 1, but you got to roll 1 of the dice. I don't want to roll 1 of the dice. You got a shield, you got a card. Like, yeah, but you got to roll 1, right? So I really like that give and take and that back and forth that the negotiation gives you. It's just fantastic. It is so much fun. I really, really like that a lot. I do, as I say, the objective cards. There's a lot of variety in the objective cards. I like that quite a bit. And it was just, the whole experience was just a riot. We played it, I know we played it a couple of times down there in Utah, and it was the first time we were kind of stumbling. There are a few things we're trying to get right. By the end of the game, we had it. And then we played the second game, and it was a machine. We knew what we were doing, and it was going great. And it was great from there on out. So it's not too hard to learn. Maybe a little bit of a curve the first time you're playing it, but not bad. And from then on, you get it. And it's so good. It is so much fun. We had grins on our faces the whole time. And again, this is another game that even when you're not winning, you're still having fun with it, which is great. I love games that can do that. So it's just excellent. The game is just excellent. Now, something I do want to mention. So I played the games with just 3 players. I've only played this game at 3-player count. I think this game would be even better with more players. I think at 4 or 5, this game would be amazing. I want to get this to the table again at a higher player count because I think that would just be fantastic. I would absolutely love to play that. Might be a longer game, and in the rule book, it even says something like, depending on player count and depending on how people negotiate, you can have some widely varying game times. And they recommend maybe just like a 2-minute negotiation period, a hard 2 minutes. And you might have to do that with higher player count. But I freaking love that idea. I freaking love it. And with more players, I think it'd be great. There's a solo mode. I really have no desire to play it solo. Some people might like it, but to me, what makes this game pop, what makes it sizzle, is the negotiation. And you're not going to get negotiation in a single player. And 2 players, I don't know. It seems to me like in negotiation games, you need 3 players to make the negotiation really worthwhile. I mean, 2, I'm just not a big fan of a competitive negotiation of 2-player. I just don't think it works. Having said all that, the games I played were tremendous fun. Looking forward to playing it at higher player counts. This game is phenomenal. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Moonrakers is buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my lectures from some of my classes on that channel. Please check that out and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Please also give us a thumb on Board Game Geek for this video. And if you really do appreciate what we do on this channel, I'd ask you to humbly go ahead and click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. You know, my wife apologized to me for the first time ever the other day. She said she was sorry she married me. Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. In Moonrakers from 4 Studios, 1 to 5 players take on the roles of various space mercenaries as they attempt to fulfill various contracts, negotiate with partners, and hopefully score the most.